Amerish is one of the 3 originally released continents for Planetside 2. Marked by its numerous jagged peaks and forested valleys, using ground vehicles here can prove challenging, and Amerish has long been known as the continent ruled from the air. Connery will start from the eastern warp gate as the Terran Republic, and Emerald will start from the western warp gate as the Vanu Sovereignty. Barrack Electrical Station, just outside the neutral southern warp gate, is the first of our 6 starting fights. An enclosed entranceway with copious amounts of cover leads to a surprisingly open single cap point room, if you can get past the choke points. The base's outside courtyards and terraces also prove an excellent playground for light assaults. The only neutral major facility to start this fight, Tumas Tech Plant is a crucial base in the south of the continent. Tech plants are some of the largest bases in Planetside 2, and while their design encourages fighting both inside and out, look for servers to use air to drop squads on the gun deck or inside of its massive cathedral, and move to secure the base without ever touching the outlying shield generators. The victor here will be able to begin a slow march into the other server's southern territory, potentially cutting them off entirely from the middle of the map. The middle of Amerish is dominated by an impressive 600-meter peak that has inspired many not-fit-for-broadcast colloquialisms. The mountain is controlled by 3 bases, but the crown jewel is the Ascent. A multiple capture point outpost with a tower spawn room, the points at the Ascent are spread out and varied. The A capture point cave is one of the most beautiful locations on Araxis, yet it's deceptive in its claustrophobia. There are several entrances, many well hidden in the rock face, and the interior is large enough for light assaults to hide in the rafters with nasty surprises. The other capture points are outside, clinging to the cliff face away from the protection of the central tower, and players will need to move in the open to capture and hold more than one point. Araxicon Network Hub, situated in a valley to the north of the mountain, is a crucial connection for the northern sections of the map, but its location makes it especially vulnerable to air. The capture point lies upstairs in a powerhouse building, and numerous walls restrict access from the outside. The exterior courtyards are deceiving and can lead attackers toward dead ends and cul-de-sacs with no access to the point. Options for sunder replacement are also scarce, and most choice spots are susceptible to aerial bombardment. The 3 capture points at the NC Arsenal are located in warehouse buildings surrounding a central pit with vehicle spawn. The pad leads to a tunnel with plenty of cover to drive your vehicles out, but few accesses to the points. There are no covered hiding spots for sunders, and most placements are close to the main road, proving vulnerable to armor and air. However, once on the points, the warehouses hold easy choke points to fend off attacks, but defenders must remember to secure the roof access as well. The capture point at North Grove Post sits in a powerhouse building in the upstairs hallway. The base consists of several outbuildings nestled into the surrounding forest and gullies. Sunderers are easily hidden from view here, but attackers will need to push inside the buildings if they want to take the base. These are the 6 starting fights spread throughout the hostile mountainous terrain of Amerish. It will be up to the winner of these first battles to try and capitalize on their position and push the enemy back. Many of these bases become much harder to take once the base is owned by the enemy, so waiting to take them later in the match is a risky gamble to take.
Planetside Battles on the Jaeger server present the first battle of round 2. Simulcast on the Planetside 2 channel. Commentary provided by Farah and Redolent. Supplemental casting provided by Lanzer. The referee for this battle is just Isha. And now, Twitch viewers and hardcore gamers, hold on to your frame rate! 2 hours of explosions and lasers in the mountains of Amerish for the honor of their servers in a rising position in the round-robin tournament. In the Western Warp Gate, with 288 players from 23 outfits and led by Pedro Clux from the Bait outfit. And fresh off their first win in this tournament, clad in purple spandex and fighting for Banu, it's Connery Prime! In the Eastern Warp Gate, with 288 players from 21 outfits, and led by Halo Spud from the Fist outfit, and looking for their first win of this tournament, wearing blue armor and fighting for freedom, Cobalt Thunder!
Thank you very much, Nanners. That was amazing. So, there's a treat for everyone, guys. We're very, very blessed here today to have the gifts of Nanners. You here, Redlin?
I am here, and that certainly should wake our audience up at the beginning of this presentation.
I did say in chat we had a special gift today. So Nanners will be back in a few minutes. He will be doing the interviews with us today. So he'll be kind of grilling our representatives from the 2 respective teams. Yes, I understand I played the wrong video graphic in the bottom left. Let's pretend that never happened and move on. So today, Redlin, what's going on?
We are moving to another continent. The whole point of this tournament is we play 3 continents and we rotate through them. So the first week's battles were on Ezimir. This week's battles are on Amerish, and that's going to change a lot of things. A lot of stuff's going to get more spread out, and it's really going to change, I think, the vehicle play and how hard it is to get up some of these mountains.
Right, Amerish indeed. 288, 280. We did do some test games. We did a little bit larger ones when we played some All-American ServerSmash. So today, I guess I'll just bring up our teams. Today's team, I'm the main caster, as said. Redolent's co-caster. We have Lanzer doing some vehicle casting for us, kind of finding things out. Their stats provided by PS2 Alerts Maelstrom, helpful as always. Our referee will be just Isha. He'll be doing his little kind of ref speech just to clarify the rules a little bit later on. The basic rules for today is to capture as much Amerish territory as possible within the 2 hours. The winner is determined by territory control, percentage, and there is no overtime. It's basically whoever has the most territory at the end. That's it.
There is, however, a Amerish-specific rule set. There is the possibility of a draw on Amerish, and so there is a specific rule in case that happens after 2 hours. There is still no overtime, but there's a tiebreaker on Amerish. So if after 2 hours territory control is exactly equal, the winner will be determined by which server holds the majority of the following territories: the NC Arsenal, the Ascent, and Tumas Tech Plant. So basically, if somehow after 2 hours it's a dead even 50-50, if you hold 2 out of 3 of the NC Arsenal, the Ascent, and Tumas Tech, you win.
There you go. Cool. Twitch chat just went off the hook. They're about 2 minutes behind, but that was amazing. Right. And then the last thing, tournament rules. We're just bringing out... the tournament format we're playing is... well, actually, why don't you tell us, Redlin? You do it much better than I do explaining the tournament rules.
The tournament rules are, we have 4 servers, the 4 servers from North America and Europe, and they are playing in 288 versus 288 matches on the continents of Amerish, Ezimir, Amerish, and Hassan. And we rotate through those. It is a round-robin tournament, just like the opening of the World Cup, and whoever has the best record at the end of every server playing every other server moves into the championship. If there's a tie, we work off of territory percentage held. So we add up all of the territory percentage that a server has over all 3 matches, and that is the tiebreaker.
Cool, thanks very much. That's great. So, I guess a few other plugs before we go into our interviews today. One is our website, planetsidebattles.org. So, any information, details, stats about the tournament we're doing or other work that we're doing, you can find that there. I will talk about public pickup and outfit versus outfit and a few other things at the end of the stream today. But that is all on our planetsidebattles.org website and our subreddit, ServerSmash, for any tournament information or things you're after. So, we ready to go do some interviews? Come quiz our Cobalt and Connery reps.
I think we need to go grab our Connery
let's go.
reps. So,
hello chaps, how are you guys doing?
Hello.
You all ready to be interrogated? We have a special guest interrogator today.
Punanners.
Yeah.
Take away, Punanners. It's all yours.
Wow, it's good that you're here. Glad that you're taking your time and energy to get these players together. This is going to be one brutal battle. I know we can't talk a lot about your strategy for this match, but let's talk about what it took for you to prepare. Halo Spud, can you tell us about the time taken, the methods employed by the members of your server to select the leader, to collect outfits, and to build a roster to begin planning your battle strategy?
I hate to interrupt, but I may be the interviewee, but I'm not Halo Spud.
Oh, man. All right. Well, Revictus, then.
Thank
how do
you.
you say that? Rectivus? Rectivus. All right.
Rictavius
Rictavius?
/ Victor Marks. My in-game name is Victor Marks.
Victor Marks. All right. Well, can you answer that question for me?
Well, it's more like a consensus of who wanted the job, really. Become the leader.
Nobody wanted the job. It was to be Force League. God, not me. Not me.
Pretty much that.
So that's more of a democratic process of who will have leadership forced upon them, right?
The perfect democracy.
Yes. Well, but what did it take to get your players together, try to fill out that roster to get your 288 players?
Desperation, press ganging, conscription, pretty much.
So just twisting arms and making people do it. Did you use any particular tools to keep track of your roster?
Well, we normally use Google Documents on that on the serious side. On the unserious side, we normally keep them in dark NG file rooms where shady men hang around in the shadows.
Oh, collecting your men in the shadows. That's a good idea. Did y'all have any plans for dealing with people dropping out, needing reserves, voiceover IP failures?
Voiceover IP failures, I think we work on a system that we have a backup TeamSpeak in place. I'm not so sure if we've done it for this time because I'm just the PR guy. I don't really get involved in the heavy management stuff. So I just look after entertaining you folks, really.
Were you able to sit in on any of the strategy meetings and get an idea for what they were using to plan?
They, like I say, they keep it very, now Cobalt keeps it very tight and inside circles, you know, how can I say it? I don't really sit on the strategy plans because I know I'm a loudmouth and I'll just spill the beans, but...
Well,
yeah,
it's not Esamir, it's Amerish, right? So 100 harassers, right?
No, maybe 200 Valks with repair crews, maybe? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
maybe even
less about the strategy because we know you can't reveal too much of that, but more about what kind of tools do you employ? I mean, I heard you say that y'all use Google Docs and other things to track your roster. Yeah. I know some people will use Photoshop to try to keep track of their map. What did y'all employ?
I would think in previous cases for looking at the map we would use a general Photoshop pick to figure out where we wanted to go. But for team rosters and everything, yeah, we use Google Docs because it's actually the spreadsheet system. Well, the spreadsheet system is quite good.
Yeah, that is very popular, I've learned, with a lot of the outfits. Did y'all take any time to review past videos of smashes on this continent or just seeing strategies from the different outfits of Amerish?
I hope we did.
And y'all learn
I
anything
haven't done
interesting?
it personally. Huh? It depends. If Hills was up here, he would actually probably say something, but if it's just me up here, I am completely, how can I say it? Manchurian candidate. I do not know anything. You cannot get anything from me. I am completely blank on the strategy. You cannot interrogate me.
How about this? With the leadership, did you hear any grumblings or particular issues that they have with the starting warp gate that they have for Amerish this time?
I think personally, like everybody, even on the Connery side, probably we wanted the Western warp gate. But I think we'll be with the Eastern warp gate. I think. I'm not so sure. I think we are. And I think looking the faction, because we probably really like the faction. Guess we like big, clunky things and blue color. You know what I mean?
Y'all are feeling pretty good, huh?
Does the lack of biolabs, on the front line compared to Esmir perhaps, disappoint you being NC?
Personally, I actually find the lack of biolabs quite a good thing. I'm not fond of biolabs. My server, however, I cannot speak on their behalf, but maybe they like biolabs. Maybe they like the idea of camping biolabs, but I'm not so sure about that.
All right,
Any more
Pedro, I
questions?
see that you're here as well. I'm going to ask you basically the same set for this, just to see what it took to get you there. But what kind of method did y'all employ to get your leaders selected and to get your outfits collected and to build your roster and to get your battle strategy going?
Well, to build our roster, we go about it the most fair way we possibly can, and that no outfit can bring more than 12 infantry for ground, regardless of skill. It's a first come, first serve sign up basis. We release the sign up sheet at the same time, same date every time. So we try to keep it really fair for the whole server to get a chance to participate. In terms of force lead, we end up just nominating people, and then they get it voted in, and then they get a chance to say, no, I really don't want this pain, or yeah, I'll go ahead and do it.
Was there as much running and hiding for leadership selection with y'all as Cobalt had?
Not so much. I've kind of gotten pigeonholed into this role as rep and force lead, so it's kind of just become my niche at this point.
He's like, Pedro's like, it's what I do. Well, what were some of the tools? Y'all leaning on Google Docs as well to keep track of your roster?
Oh yeah, we're totally sponsored by Google Docs at this point.
How about dealing with reserves, disconnects, via voice over IP failures?
Pretty much any outfit that didn't get in via first come, first serve, they usually come in and support in that manner. And then we just rally whatever troops we can via yell or whatever on Connery to get more people in here.
I have a question.
I think you should hold on, Patra. I think you should relay the story of the last time there was a TeamSpeak failure. How one of your platoon commanders dealt with that from his platoon.
It was quite terrible. So it initially started with me yelling through command chat, just praying that they had the certs in command chat to hear me. And so I was getting random squad leaders in different platoons here and there. They're like, no, I'm not the platoon leader, I'm the squad leader. I'm like, yeah, I get that. Get them in this TeamSpeak stat. So for the longest time, though, I had my one platoon leader who was leading the biggest platoon. He was giving one-sentence orders through platoon chat. And that's how he was commanding his entire platoon.
He was typing it. He was typing
typing it out.
Platoon chat.
Going like 1980s NATO was.
Yeah, and you know what? They did great. They didn't get pushed back, but like, there's a huge misconception that we had our comms together, and no, we were just as bad off. Like, I had no contact with most of my forces for almost that second half of that match until the very end when we really started getting things together. But yeah, it was definitely detrimental, and we definitely have a backup plan in terms of backup TeamSpeak.
Well, y'all practice chaos on Connery, right?
We thrive on it.
Well, how about getting your strategy together? Did y'all review past videos, collect Amerish strategies from other outfits?
Yeah, a little bit of both. We reflected on our match against Emerald prior. Got to experience the things from the eastern side and what we liked on what Emerald did, what we didn't like, and also kind of just really took a step back and looked at the map and decided, yeah, this is the way we want to go about it.
Now, what did y'all think were going to be your main challenges for this continent in your starting warp gate and faction selection?
I think our main challenge at faction selection-wise as volunteer is the fact that we have the slowest ESF. So in terms of opener, we're a little slower in getting to point. Other than that, I think warp gate-wise, we're pretty good in terms of choke points. And I'm not going to go too much more into that.
Well, yeah, you don't want to give away too much. How did your performance in the first round of this tournament factor into your preparations for this match?
Well, you take it with a grain of salt in the fact that, there was that major comm failure for both sides. So, yes, we did win, but I do, give partial credit to the fact that, comms did go down and we managed to scramble maybe a little bit harder than Miller. In terms of that, we don't really look at what we did well. We just constantly look at what can we do better.
So,
and that's the way we go about
ideas
it.
From people, huh?
Yeah, we look at our biggest failures and just try to improve on that.
Well, Rick, I see he's muted his mic. I was going to ask him the same question.
Hello, I'm back.
Hey, yeah, Rick, did your people look at their performance from their first round and use that in their preparations for this one?
I hope they did, yeah. I'm pretty damn sure we did.
Do you know of anything specific that they looked at, like questions about how commands were given or how they coordinated
or anything that they thought they were particularly going to address this time around?
I think it's in a very basic format. How centralized our system was, and we thought about decentralizing it. But that was from one meeting. I am seriously not going to reveal anything because I know how Connery is.
What about this then? How about instead of tactics or strategy, how are your force leads implementing command? I mean, do you have a Battle of Britain table of the southeast of England, or in this case Amerish, with all your kind of female waths around pushing little sticks with fighter command and different squads? Or how are they controlling stuff?
As much as that sounds cool, I think it's a lot less romanticized than that. I think we've got at least our whisper list set up. We've got everything set up. We know what we have to do.
Do you have call names? Like, does the force command? I know you all have your names, but did you have a name like Mother and Home Command or stuff like that? No, because you should, because that makes comms 10 times more interesting.
Mongoose, nice man.
Oh well, yeah, kind of.
Personally, I know how Connery are. Cobalt's far more different from that. I think the furthest we'll go for call signs is to call one guy wanker, the other guy pisser, and that's about it. We're Europeans that way.
Our call signs is legitimately Platoon 1, Platoon 2, Platoon 3, and so on.
Oh
yeah,
dear.
We keep it simple.
Keep it simple, my word.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Okay, but anyway, I just hope we could give you an entertaining match. That's for sure. I remember Connery in pre-season, and that was my first experience in ServerSmash.
To be fair, though, that was a completely different format where points were based around facilities. Now it's a territory war, so it'll be interesting to see the outcome in this match.
Yeah, I know. This is kind of like, as one guy put it a couple of weeks ago when they heard about Cobalt versus Connery, this may be payback for long ago. Who knows? Maybe we get revenge.
All right, I've got a final bit just to ask. Rick, is there something in particular that we should be looking out for you for this match? Something that you're going to surprise us with? That not strategy-wise, but just some interesting thing that we might want to look for.
I would say keep a lookout for it. If there's surprises.
Has anyone paid station cash for camos and like stuff? And have they got their bottles on standby?
I've got my pumpkin hat.
Because this happened last week and surprised me that people paid station cash to look fabulous.
If they want to look fabulous, they can look fabulous all they want. I mean, I would love it if SSOE actually gave us everything for free, but then, you know. Who knows?
Maybe we'll Pedro, what about you? Any surprises that we should look out for that are non-strategy related? Just something interesting to look for? Patty?
Not so much. More of just we'll be running a slightly different format than I think anybody has quite yet in terms of force allocation. So it'll be interesting to see. It's either going to work out really well for us or it's going to be a total failure. So we're kind of putting a lot on the line in terms of experimenting with this, and hopefully you see it come to fruition in this match.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, guys. Do you have any final words for each other before you start?
I would say to the Yanks, don't hate on me because I'm from Seychelles and we're colonial cousins, but seriously, have a good match. Have a great match, and I hope we kick some ass. I'm not involved in it, but I hope we kick some ass.
Yep, best of luck to you guys, and we're going to do everything we can to not let you get any revenge today.
Ooh.
Okay, well thank you guys, thank you very, very much, and thank you Poonanners for being our interviewer today, it was much appreciated.
You got it.
We're going to move off to our referee speech now, just to explain the rules, and then we'll do a little bit of meta talk with me, Redlin, and then we'll move into our game. We've got about 10 minutes before we start.
Alright,
on you go, Justicia.
Alright. This is Justicia speaking on all call. I will be the game referee for this match. Please pay careful attention. I will just go over the match rules, which all participants should have been informed about already. The game referee has a final say in all matters of the event. All concerns during the event should be brought to the attention of your server rep. Server reps will then bring their matters to me.
Today's server reps for Cobalt are Fuzzbucket and for Connery, Jon V. The game referee is responsible for timekeeping, and the final result is also the responsibility of the game referee. Today's objective is to capture as much of Amerish as possible within the 2-hour time limit. The winner is the server with the most territory at the end of these 2 hours, as determined by the in-game territory control graph. There is no overtime. There are no immediate gameplay restrictions, so play the game as it's meant to be played. However, there is one base out of play, Rockslide Outlook. The terminals and turrets at this outpost have been destroyed. You can use the territory and traverse it, but the point may not be captured. If after 2 hours both sides own the same percentage of territory, which is technically possible, we have a tiebreaker for Amerish. This tiebreaker is that the side who owns the majority of the following 3 bases wins: NC Arsenal, The Ascent, and Tumas Tech Plant. Again, this tiebreaker only occurs if both sides own the same percentage of territory. If one side has more than the other, they win. Every player should also have their character number listed before their name on TeamSpeak. So for example, if your character is ServerSmash TR 316, you should put the number 316 in front of your TeamSpeak name. A very important point, please do not delete any characters from the account you have been given. If you delete a character, the character cannot be recreated with battle rank and search by us. You will also not be given another account, and you and your outfit may face further consequences. Report any problems with your characters or accounts to your server rep so we can keep track. Thank you. All participants are required to remain on the continent of Amerish during the entire match. You may not leave to a different continent for any reason. There is no reason to anyway. If you have account problems or need to be replaced, contact your server rep. Reserves, you must check in with your server rep before subbing into the game. Cheating, using exploits, hacking, or any real-life enemy sabotage will disqualify your entire outfit and may impact your outfit's participation in future hosted events. The match will start at the full hour and you will receive a countdown notice on all call from me. You are not allowed to leave the warp gate until the match starts. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you, Justicia. It's much appreciated. Right, so we got a few minutes that we need to talk about a few things, Redland, and then we'll play the little intro video, and then we'll have Justicia call start about 7 minutes and 20 seconds roughly. So, looking at the map of Amerish, right? This is kind of like, how do you handle this? What do you do? Where do you go?
I think that, first of all, with Amerish, there are more lanes. That's kind of what we do with this tournament. We start off with the smallest number of lanes on Ezimir. We wind up with the largest number of lanes on Hassan. But it's a little deceptive on Amerish. You really kind of have 3 major areas with their lanes. You have the north, you have the middle with the mountain, and you have the south. And it really depends what warp gate you're coming from and where you want to try and push.
Right.
Going through that mountain is hard. It's hard to get the ascent, it's hard to get Raven's Landing, and then on top of it, whether you're coming, depending on which warp gate you're coming from, you still have to go through an incredibly difficult base in the Bastion or Araxis Firearm Corps to get through there. So is that where you place a lot of your forces? I saw Connery do that in their last match where they tried really hard to push through there and it didn't work out so well for them. Whereas there are a little bit weaker lanes. Both the far north and the far south lane are a little bit weaker. There's single cap point bases. You can kind of push along and get more territory. And then, of course, obviously, there's the tech plant. And we've seen multiple...
That lovely interdiction play at Tumas Cargo Facility, yes, which has a lovely upper raised platform that they can basically prevent anyone from getting to. And then, if you can hold that for 4 minutes, which is what they did, they got the tech plant for free, which was not criminal, but it was very impressive. I guess you're right. In the north, you got the extra lanes. This fighting goes on there. NC Arsenal's relatively neutral. Raxicon Network Hub is a nice kind of neutral base between the Bastion and the Crux headquarters. People would say Bastion's probably an easier base to defend than Crux headquarters is. Both of them are large outposts. The Ascent, because the Nuke Conglomerate team on the eastern side, that being Cobalt, can't go through Rockside Outlook, it becomes a standard fight in the middle, where Bastion goes into Lithcorp Central and Raxis Firearms goes into... Oh, it's not Nethermore, it's Raven's Landing. So, and then of course you have the Ascent, and both teams would naturally come up, and we should see some cave fighting going on in the A capture point. I love it when that cave fighting happens. And then coming down to the south, in the southern lane, kind of the mid-south, we have the Skylance battery against Tumas Cargo Facility going into the tech plant. Both teams relatively have the same, advantage, disadvantage, is whether or not Connery can outsmart Cobalt by getting to Tomb's cargo facility and cause some interdiction. And then, of course, on the southern lane, we have Barrack Electrical being neutral and a bunch of single cap bases all the way. But while we would say that the western warp gate probably has a slightly stronger advantage in the north with the Bastion and the way the base layout is between Lithcorp Fortress and North Growth Post, in the south, the eastern warp gate has 2 extra large outposts. It has Araxis Firearms Corp, which is a massive block if they lose the centre or the tech plant, and they also have Granite Valley Garrison, preventing any push further in the south. So they could lose territory in the south, but with the large outposts so close to each other, they could apply pressure elsewhere on the map. So these are interesting things that we can look for. Right, so
that tech plant lane really reminds me a lot of the Rime Analytic Matherson's Triumph lane on Esamir. You have the ability to interdict. You have if you lose a really easy to defend base, one side has a lot more weakness than the other does. It's the asymmetricalness of that lane allows for a lot of different options from both sides, frankly.
Right, so we have 4 minutes to game start. So I will play our little intro video, which we saved. You guys have seen it all before, but we'll just play the intro video, and then we'll do the last kind of countdown, talking about what's going on, and then we'll go into our game start. So we'll be right back.
Where we come from, we each fight for loyalty, for freedom, or perhaps enlightenment. But not here. Here we cast aside our disparate beliefs, our barriers and preconceived notions, and band together as a global force to engage in some of the largest competitive battles this world has ever seen. We are the squads, the platoons, the empires and servers, full of players coordinating a complex game of strategy and tactics. This is where combined arms happens. This is where war comes to play. This is ServerSmash.
Right, we are back, server rolling again. That's I love that intro, and we've updated it with the kind of graphics at the end, so that was good work there for Redland for doing that for us. So a few other things we're going to talk about. To follow the score in the game, we have some stats and graphs. We have our scoreboard, we have the ticker on the top, which you guys can follow, and that has the the team names and the clock and whatnot. But we also have the slider bar at the bottom. This will give you information when a base is defended or captured, and this progress bar will move back and forth, and the neutral territory, that being TR today, will kind of squeezed out, and then it'll just be the 2 factions moving back and forth. We also have our total kill count, which is in gold, total deaths, total TKs, and then we have faction color specific. So we have Connery, which is purple, and Cobalt, which is blue. So we'll see their kill deaths and TKs. And then throughout the battle, we'll bring up some leadership stats, which we'll get. And at the moment, these are just these will be faction colored. As I refresh here, I'll just do that now. There we go. So we can get some faction colors and whatnot. We'll have weapons. I'm expecting to see the Orion. I'd be very surprised if we don't see the Orion, and some AV grenades and some C4. Any weapon you think we'll see, Redland?
I don't know. I want to see a jackhammer up there.
And we got vehicles stats as well. So that's the leaderboard stats. A kill graph, those will be in the thousands. We'll watch 2 different colors going off there. And we have a map timeline. And the map timeline will kind of give us a feeling of what bases are flipping and when. So it's things that we can bring up during the game. But we've got about 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. So, I mean, any last thoughts, Redland, before we go into this?
I'm just interested to see how the opening happens. I think the East Gate has an interesting ability to wait on their opening. No other map allows this. They can wait to see where Connery puts their forces and then hammer them.
East Gate can't afford to wait for Tomb's cargo facility, though. I think they have to go there as quick as possible. And
is Justicia channel to give the counts?
He is indeed in the channel.
I'm here, yeah.
And on stream, now we have got a little delay, we can see this. There is actually a defense locator marker that's already been placed by the VS, because my character's VS. I think Connery is going to put some emphasis on Tomb's cargo facility.
Alright, I will start the 30-second countdown in 10 seconds.
Apart from that, we can expect to see probably Connery going for North Grove Post, since it's such an easy base for them. Who goes for Rex?
Justicia, all call, all players. The match will start in 30 seconds. Get ready to start in 30 seconds. Do not leave the warp gate yet.
Your timing's a little off for me. I am on 15 right now, but I'll let you do the call.
Alright, everybody, get ready. There are 12 seconds left.
That's a quick jump. Everyone chants like, we've got 30 seconds. Wait, we've got 12 seconds. Oh my god.
Alright, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, go, go, go.
We are live and are watching Connery's Air Force of Scythes leaving the warp gate, and they're splitting into two teams. One team going north, one team going south.
Looks like the same is happening with the NC. There is a large force of Reavers headed towards the tech plant area as well.
See, this looks so cool in the minimap. I know we're not supposed to nerd about this too much, but it does kind of feel like a scene from Battlestar Galactica with all the Cylons going towards one direction.
There are a lot more
exactly
spread
right.
out
The North Force exactly is already engaging with Scythe up north.
And oh, this force of Scythes are going straight for Tuma's cargo facility.
I think Connery learned something from Emerald. They're going to try and do the same thing.
We're going to watch this now. The fact is there a Cobalt force coming in for Tuma's cargo facility?
They're coming, but I don't know.
They are, but they're like 3 or 4 seconds behind. They're just going to do a Bale Wars right now. No one's going to fight. They're just dropping. Here they go.
Cobalt was just behind, but it looked like equal forces to me that engaged, and Cobalt left some people up. Cobalt sent an entire extra squad forward to the tech plant.
Oh, I don't believe it. Cobalt... Where's Cobalt going? They're going to the tech plant. What?
They bypassed the cargo facility. They didn't actually drop on cargo facility. They went straight over to the tech plant.
Oh, they're... Oh my god. They're... Oh, okay, so I see what's going on. Basically, Cobalt's gone for the tech plant on the assumption that they would just get the point flip on Tuma's cargo facility, which hasn't happened. They flew right over them. No one realized they could have stopped and dropped out. Now we've got a huge... And I mean huge force set up at Tuma's cargo facility on the upper platform, just like happened last time. I say huge, we can check the minimap as we zoom in. It's enough to be a right nuisance. The entire force that dropped with... Oh, they're pulling galaxies? Well, this is interesting. So they've hacked the terminals. Are they going to come back? Well, we have to see what Cobalt does here. Their interdiction force at Skylines didn't work yet.
Electric, and they have what looks like a squad, perhaps, on the point at Barrack Electric. However, Connery has air and multiple Sunders up, and they're already starting to try and pour in here.
Where's this galaxy going?
Cobalt air up in the north is beating out the Connery air.
That's good to hear.
Connery is also interdicting at what is now called Nevermore, but it means Raven's Landing. So Connery beat Cobalt to both Tuma's Cargo and Raven's Landing.
Oh, you're right. So that's some strong interdiction going on there by Connery. Just giving them... And the important reason is this gives them more time on Tuma's cargo tech plant. Now, ultimately... doesn't matter so long as in the first 4 minutes Tuma's cargo facility cap can start, because, well, first 3 minutes, because of the way the tech plant works, and it's a 7-minute base capture. So they still have time, but it's precious. They need to respond.
I am at Raven's Landing, and the majority of these VS at the point here are wielding shotguns. I think they want to teach the NC some of their own methods.
Oh, they were so close. That one heavy assault nearly flipped the base, and then the infiltrator runs in. He's got the base. That's it. All the NC can leave. The VS, no point being here because you can't do anything else. You might as well redeploy and spawn in at the Sunders you've got at Tuma's cargo facility. That's the force that's currently at Nevermore or in Raven's Landing. As for Barrack Electrical, we'll go have a look there.
Where was the main battle tank fight, Lancer?
The main battle tank fight is up in NC Arsenal, which is also...
Oh, we'll be there in 1 second.
Anti-air.
And that looks like it's a even pop fight.
They're pounding each other.
Cobalt's got the cap point on Barrack Electrical, but there's far more Connery outside on Barrack Electrical. Coming over to the tank fight. Ooh, a little bit too fast.
As good as Connery's doing in the south.
Lots of AP.
As good as Connery's doing in the south, Cobalt is doing as well in the north. They are unopposed at Araxicom Network Hub, and they are taking North Grove Post, and they're making it a fight at NC Arsenal.
We do see the NC Armor Force.
They're getting overrun by the Vanguard. You can still see up good of the AA Sundays, but that's really all that's left now, the Connery armor.
I'm gonna fix my camera here.
That was a fun fight to watch. Lots and
well, Ender just flipped, so fingers crossed, no more alerts.
It didn't lock the continent though. So
the problem is these Vanguards, they're all AP. They've got Halberd AP. they're not designed to take on infantry. They need some really sniper-esque shots to kill off any of these VS forces on the hillside. And realistically speaking, these vanguards should just push around. I mean, they might not realize that they're here. Push around and pick off the 2 Sunders. That would seriously help their cause and, you know, killing off any of the Vanu spawns at NC Arsenal. As for the actual base itself,
they got destroyed as soon as they rounded them.
Well, First Blood
Cobalt had North Grove Post, but Connery just got back on the point, but Cobalt is doing a massive max scratch with multiple, coming out of multiple Sunders that they just deployed. We're going to see if Connery can hold here. The point is in a very interesting location in this powerhouse building. It's out in the hallway, which is not normally.
You say North Grove Post?
Yes.
Doesn't look like it's coming to anything.
I think Connery, I see a Valkyrie outside that's dropping mines on the NC Sunderers and just took it out.
That's dangerous. I mean, that's ballsy, but it's dangerous, because if you get shot while throwing that mine, it blows you up. That happened to me the other day. One of my passengers on the Valkyrie were throwing mines out, and somebody just shot him with a minigun and blew up all 6 people in the Valkyrie.
The NC don't have a spawn close anymore, but they have managed to push Connery off of the point. This is going to be a tug of war here. Connery still has a Sunder at North Grove, which I don't believe the NC do.
Correct. Right, now as far as the south is going, the tech plant is already flipping now for the American Connery force on the Vanu, right? So we see that 6 minutes 20. 2 minutes cargo facility, there's more Cobalt trying to force their way in, so we're going to go there next. But look at this, there's 1224. There's at least a squad of NC, there's at least a squad of Cobalt at the tech plant. What the bleep? There's no reason being there. You can do nothing. You are nothing but a detrimental drain to your team. You should come back at Tuma's cargo facility and you should help out here because they need the assistance. We can see the point is briefly flipping. There's a PPA, oh god, PTSD, PPA harasser on the point, making extremely good work holding the front door. We saw briefly in the minimap there's a huge Connery force, sorry, Cobalt force outside just wanting to come in. But so far, critically, this Connery force is holding the point, and they've got a Sunder on top of the harasser, and all they need to do is hold this for the 3 minute 59 second marker on the tech plant. That's all they need, which is about 1 minute and 30. So I mean, this is pretty close stuff here. Another, it's deceptive because they might not pay attention, but Cobalt has to realize the urgency that they really only have about a minute, unless, and if they don't get here in a minute, they will lose the tech plant for free. Nice
has all 3 points owned by Cobalt right now. Connery is trying to push into A, but they have not managed to gain a foothold.
Yeah, the Cobalt definitely has the upper hand as far as air goes. Connery is doing guerrilla warfare with battle gallows.
It's just not enough infantry for Cobalt. They're so close. They're on the point. Here comes the flank. You guys need to run to the point. Just run to the point. Go, go, go. Run, run. No, don't kill off the enemy. Run to the point. This is a different from stunner mechanics. There we go, infiltrators going for the point. Are they going to flip it? No, they got picked off. The point is still neutral. The time is critical. And what's the base? 4 minutes 33 seconds they're on the point. Okay, so that is a huge benefit compared to last time. They managed to get the capture point. This base will go through in 4 minutes. The Connery force cannot stop this hack, which means this entire Cobalt force, the entire force, can now go to Tuma's tech plant facility, and the goal is to kill off every single spawn, every vehicle, everything that the Cobalt force has, because they'll have an extremely sweet time window of about 13-14 seconds right at the very end to actively capture the base. Now conversely, Connery they don't need to be at the tech plant defending the point for the next 4 minutes or 3 minutes and so they can spend all their resources to push out and keep the Cobalt force away from the capture point outside the base without being inside.
Interestingly, the NC Arsenal, there's a significantly larger force of Cobalt here than there is Connery, and Connery cannot seem to get a point. It is now 2 minutes away from the NC Arsenal. This looked to be an even pop fight at the beginning, and it is no longer. I don't know if Connery has moved people away or what, but this looks like it is going in Cobalt's favor.
Get the first set of spawn-ins for Cobalt. They're using galaxies to ferry in. That's 2 whole squads, possibly a third with an extra galaxy. Possibly they're using their galaxies for squad deploying or squad spawning in. They're going to keep their gals, and this way they can just ferry their squads around. They've got Reaver support on the tech plant at Tumas. Oh, hello, gal. And
Electrical is also interesting. Connery outpops Cobalt there, but Cobalt owns the point, and it is.
Well, that's gone back and forth. That base was almost a Cobalt base, and then it was almost a Connery base, and now it's gone back again.
There's an entire platoon of Sunderers here for Connery outside. I wonder if they were all caught in vehicles in the stock.
So we're going to go back to the NC Arsenal, but one last thing I want to mention is that Lithcorp was interdicted by a Cobalt force for a brief moment of time, and the ascent is ticking down with only a Cobalt force, but it's not enough to guarantee them a free ascent.
It looks like Connery. Yeah, it looks like Connery moved all of their forces out of the middle.
All three capture points, you're right. All three capture points at NC Arsenal are being held by Cobalt. In terms of population at NC Arsenal, there's a small overpope of 56%, but that doesn't excuse not having a capture point. Looks like most of Connery's forces are outside in vehicles, Mag Riders, Lightning, Skyguards, and Sunderers. The actual force pushing to the capture point doesn't look like they're anywhere close to getting a capture point, and with 60 seconds to go, it's going to be exponentially bad, even if they do get a single point.
I don't really understand what's going on with Cobalt's air. They seem to just flying around, ignoring everything that's going on below them.
Well, we have some of Cobalt's air taking down a galaxy of Connery.
Well, when they found Connery, they beat out Connery air. The Connery air is pretty much lost. But the Cobalt air is ignoring any sort of strafing. They're just flying above as like a sentry.
Which base is this happening?
Everywhere, actually, but around NC Arsenal, North Grove. They're just kind of flying
they
above.
are not. No, they are doing ground pounding outside of Barrack Electric.
Yeah, and they're also doing ground pounding now. I can see them at NC Arsenal. We're seeing a couple of air hammers. What's this galaxy up to?
Yeah, I've seen a few here and there, but for the most part, they seem pretty docile, and I don't know what's going on.
What are these guys up to?
There's at least 24 Reavers that are doing nothing but killing Sunderers outside of Barrack Electrical right now. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't help them get the point back, which is currently easily held.
Well, they got themselves Charlie Point. I mean, that's something. They've stalled it by another 30 seconds. Now they critically need to get... Oh, that's okay. We've got a big infantry push going for A. Connery is trying to get them A. Cobalt just needs to hold on for 20 seconds. This is huge. The fact is Connery needs to get this point, and they can stall this base out so much longer. Cobalt gets it. It is a massive positional play in the north. And it doesn't look like there's enough infantry for Connery. Cobalt gets the base. Right, in the south, the tech plant. Right, there we go. We need to get there quickly. Now Cobalt can interdict. With 30 seconds to go, they can now do something on the tech plant. And we're at the tech plant. Who is on the point? Looks like Connery is still on the point. Cobalt only had a 30-second window to do something at the point. They're applying pressure. We can see them on the mini-map. They're trying to come up the staircase, but they have had 4 minutes to prep this attack. That's Cobalt has had 4 minutes to do something about this attack, or get ready for a mega push on the last 30-second window, and they haven't pulled it off. They could have sat and done nothing. They could have gone to a completely different base for 4 minutes, so long as they came back here in that 30-second window, and they didn't. So we need to find out what they were doing there, or where they were. Perhaps they were... In fact, they've also lost Barrack Electrical, so that force at Tumas Cargo could have assisted in the south rather than going for the tech plant, but they didn't. So now we have a fight over the tech plant, which is still good for Cobalt. You know, they have the cargo facility. Actually, the cargo facility is going back. That's like a ghost cap. But it does mean that they have a significantly harder time of taking this base because it was 7 minutes. The SCU generator, however, is going down. That could be a big plus if they could make sure it stays down.
In the north, it looks like Connery has sent more people, and they are now pushing along into Moss Ravine, and they're also trying to take back NC Arsenal as well. Although Cobalt is sending galaxies in to try and get both of these back.
So the Tumas Tech Plant's SCU is down, however the shields are up because of the timer of the base. Now that's the problem is that there needs to be a larger Cobalt force picking off all these Sunders because they're a fresh attack force, so they're going to have lots of Sunder spawns. And Cobalt has the awkward position of defending the SCU without actually being inside the shield, so they have to defend all entry points. Now luckily for them they can fire through the shields to prevent anyone from Connery trying to repair said shield. To see what happens. I would imagine though that given the respawns and the Sunder locations, Connery isn't going to let the tech plant fall and they're going to get the SCU back up. And Barrack Electrical Force has moved on to High Roads.
They've actually moved to both the bases that they can attack down in the south here. And Connery owns all 3 points at NC Arsenal. They have put a very large force here. Now, weirdly, Cobalt decided to go save Monster Bean by overpopping it. I wonder if they're just going to try and do redeploy side here and hop over to NC Arsenal, knowing that it's a long cap, that they can just move those guys back over.
9 Maxes are rushing into the High Road Station capture point, splitting into 2 forces. This is going to be interesting because I've seen no Maxes. Surprise! Jackhammers, shotguns, hacksaws.
Interestingly, even with that interdiction we saw Connery do at Raven's Landing, which is called Nevermore for October, they abandoned the middle. In the next 12 seconds, the entire middle of the map will be taken by Cobalt basically for free. They just captured the Ascent with, I didn't see a single fight there, and there is a small fight, I guess it's even pop at the moment, at Northcorp Central. But that's interesting. I mean, it seems like Connery made a play there and then just moved on. Maybe they were trying to psych Cobalt out.
This is fascinating. The repeated res grenades for the Vanu force currently defending High Road Station, there were a lot of Maxes, but the repeated res grenade shoot, res grenade shoot, res grenade shoot is grinding down the Maxes. I mean, who would have thought? Charge them with our bodies. More charging with bodies. It's working. Charge more bodies. But finally, the Vanu force is dead. They must have run out of res grenades. But they still have the point, though. This is actually quite important. There's 2 Vanu guys, 3 Vanu guys. They've still got the point with 1:40 to go. Okay, maybe the galaxies and reinforcements and a motion sense for the Cobalt force will make a difference, but they've got to get this point. Yeah, there we go.
There was a small hack put on the Bastion by Cobalt. It didn't. I actually went over there looking for a squad. I think it was maybe a couple sneaky infiltrators. But now that they have 2 connections to that, I wonder if they try and throw themselves against that. It's a real gamble because Connery can basically let him sit there for several minutes and then come kick him off. But if you want to really, really hurt that gate, you have to kind of push into Bastion with what they have right now.
Yes, Bastion is critical for Connery. We'll have a quick look at the map. We can see that Cobalt is beginning to vie for it. They're starting to capture points. Now, if you look at the base, the way the map is right now, in the north, critically for the Cobalt force, they've got themselves NC Arsenal, although it is under attack and being lost, but it's a large outpost. They can come back and save it. They kind of have to make sure that the bases don't get too low, though, and they don't do last-second saves, as we saw last week. However, Cobalt is 1% or 2% in the lead. They have a slight lead, and critically for the neutral scenario, they have the Ascent and they have the NC Arsenal. So they're theoretically in the lead and winning now. But if they were to get the Bastion opens up so many possibilities, pushing up to West Foothills Air Dock, Deserted Mineshaft, Deep Core Geolab, Hioka Armory. It offers an extra few bases of pushing. It is the linchpin in kind of the middle defense of Connery. Connery has decided, you know what, we're not going to get the Ascent, we're not going to fight at the Ascent, we'll apply maximum pressure on the tech plant, Barrack Electrical, try and get high roads, maybe get, Cryobank, and in the north, they got North Grove, they may push for Monster V and Sungri Power Hub, maybe Sungri, and Connery, we can see, is trying to get NC Arsenal.
At the tech plant. The NC got on the point at the tech plant, and they can't do anything at cargo facility now.
Oh, so they've kind of moved those 24 to 48 hostiles, yeah. And they do have about a squad of 12. It's probably 12, 13 people on the Tumas tech plant. But the fact is, that's a long 7-minute hack. You can afford, theoretically, to neglect that for a few minutes if you want to apply pressure elsewhere. And there's... Okay, so Connery does not want Cobalt any time on the Bastion hack. They've redeployed it. What must be a platoon worth? Yeah, it's easily a platoon. They're outnumbered 2-1 Cobalt. Connery's just here and says, nope, it's our base, get out.
Cobalt has managed to get themselves a point at the NC Arsenal, making this now a 7-minute cap. Connery hasn't yet moved forces over here to take it back, and this was actually when Cobalt captured this base. Connery couldn't manage to get themselves onto this point. Cobalt has some very nice engineer turret placement, stopping anyone pushing in through these doors here.
Yeah, the air game is still same actually. Cobalt has a station force at High Roads and around Lithcorp. But Connery, a few skirmishes, nothing really major. They're kind of in guerrilla mode.
So who would you say has current air dominance? Is it Cobalt or Connery?
Cobalt. Cobalt has air dominance and actually firmly established it at the beginning of the match.
And do you think, what kind of numbers are we talking here? Maybe a couple of squads, platoon of air throughout the continent?
We're talking at least a platoon. If I had to guess, I'd say that we're looking at 2 platoon.
Well, okay, even if it's a platoon, Connery is playing with more infantry in the ground then, assuming they're not doing it. Now, could they apply that pressure? On the map, what do you think, Red?
Yeah, we actually saw that. We saw that at Barrack Electrical, where the air for Cobalt went down, and they killed, I don't know, there must have been 15 Sunders parked out there from Connery, but Connery was standing on the point, and the air couldn't do anything, especially at that base where it's so deep down. Now here, I'm at Moss Ravine. The air for Cobalt could affect this somewhat.
So many maxes in the capture point, though. With 5 or 6 maxes on the capture point at Moss Ravine. It doesn't look like... and the Reavers can't do anything from Cobalt. The problem is the nature of the base is very difficult to get an angle to fire in, and the capture building, you can't really fire in that at all. And it's a pretty murderous path for the Cobalt force to get inside. Presumably they'd want to force their way around this southern section and then maybe apply pressure and get inside, but it's such a murder hole with all those maxes. Probably the best thing to do is actually drop in the balcony.
Cobalt has decidedly jumped into the NC Arsenal fight. They are flashing all 3 points now and out-pop Connery here. It looks like Cobalt has decided to play redeploy side, and they seem to be doing it quicker than Connery is. It took Connery several minutes to figure out that they were behind him at Tumas Tech and get everyone to go kick him off the point. Cobalt seems to be maybe 30 seconds quicker with their redeploy side.
Well, Cobalt's finally picked off Connery's spawns, and there are some light assaults, throwing smoke. This must be the push. They're applying pressure now, and without any reinforcements, it doesn't look like there's any beacons. This Connery force, 90 seconds to hold on to a point with a lot of your guys dead and your maxes. Oh, check the AV grenades, that's painful. And I think it's only a matter of seconds now before the Cobalt force comes in and just wipes off Connery. That is assuming they're ready to go in. Hey Max, you going? Come on, let's go. No? You want to go this way? Where are you going?
Another sizable Sunday ball moving up to NC Arsenal.
For who?
Trying to swat Reavers away, but doesn't look like it's working. Well, actually they're doing a pretty fair job holding off the Reavers.
Connery is set up at Tumas Cargo Plant as soon as they get connection. They have Sunders in onto the point, which will definitely help their hold. But they're just waiting.
Sunday ball just got obliterated by a gal drop.
I'm watching the NC Cobalt force save Moss Ravine, and someone needs to tell the Cobalt forces, congratulations, you took the point, because they're still throwing AV grenades in and TKing their own side, throwing res grenades, and then throwing more AV grenades. There's no one from Connery alive. That's
something I've noticed in the beginning. Their communication, I don't know what's going on with it. But
well, communication between specific squads themselves can be somewhat limited because you're within your own little squad for talk. Looks like there's fresh Sunders coming in from Connery. But when in doubt, Lanzer, throw more grenades. That's basically the rule.
Yeah, I guess so.
At Tumas Cargo Facility,
not taught somebody out.
At Tumas Cargo Facility, there was a 2 squads or 1 squad of Connery up on the point just waiting for that tech plant to get back in their favor, and they had 2 Sunders. Cobalt preemptively charged the point and killed off the 2 Sunders and killed everyone before the point flipped, so that was very good on-the-ball maneuvering by Cobalt there to save Tumas Cargo before it could have become a real problem.
Somebody has parked a Sundra in a horrendous under-the-vehicle exit at NC Arsenal for Connery. It means they only have one way out to do anything. And the Cobalt Air Force smells blood in the water, and they were bombarding them with ground attacks, and they're keeping them pinned in. This is a large force of ground forces just being pinned in one exit, and they're turning to anti-air and anti-vehicle to do something about it, but this is a waste of time. They're really just not doing anything productive right now. Look at all those people there on the minimap just doing nothing, being pinned in because of the Sunder placement. Now, yes, it's safe, but realistically they need to spawn to the southern one that's just got picked up. Lithcorp looks like it's being saved. Bastion attack is over. Tumas Cargo Facility 50-50, but we see that the fight has moved to the tech plant again, and Barrack Electrical is being attacked. Actually, both points are being attacked, High Road Station and Barrack Electrical. So we're going to go south and have a look at that.
There is one light assault here at High Road Station. He just got killed by an infiltrator. And I don't know if he didn't know that there was an infiltrator there because he got shot at and then he put his beacon down. And the infiltrator just said, oh, thank you, I'll kill that beacon. And the poor guy's squad couldn't come join him.
It would appear that the capture point on the tech plant was just a distraction. But it did justify pulling in at least 2 or 3 squads of, as we see on the minimap for Connery, to come back. They pulled their entire force, bar perhaps one squad, from Tuma's cargo facility to respond to the tech plant. I mean, I'm not saying that was overkill, but it was close to extreme overkill. So whatever that team did at Tuma's tech plant, that worked really well, because now this Cobalt force that's at Tuma's cargo facility, they can afford to push out fresh vehicles, fresh air, whatever they need to at this base, and then move out and get the fight off their base. So it served its purpose, in the very least, of taking pressure off.
Fire, what do you think? You think they should abandon some of these Reaver?
It depends, because right now the bases haven't changed.
They're doing fine as it is.
They're doing fine. The bases haven't changed. Cobalt has a tiny lead, and I mean tiny lead, of one base. And then, assuming it can be neutral, actually, Cobalt has a 2-base lead, technically speaking, because if Connery gets a base, it'll go from 50-48 to 49-49. And because Cobalt has got themselves the Ascent and the NC Arsenal, they actually have a 2-base lead, in theory. So,
yes, they own the tiebreaker.
I'm not saying they can play passive. They definitely want to be aggressive, and they definitely want to get themselves back electrical. But ultimately, you know, they do have a larger buffer than what it might seem. Is I guess what I'm getting at.
And actually, they are pushing in the north now at North Grove Post, and this looks like it seems like the numbers are always just slightly in their favor, and I wonder if that is just they're really good at using that air ball, moving it around into the base that it needs to be, and showing more pop at that base. As long as you actually have people on the point, your air can be incredibly powerful. The problem becomes when you send air to try and do things that you need somebody on the point to do. You send both of them, and you'll devastate everything.
Seems like their air is slow to react. That's what I'm saying. I think there's a communication.
If there's going to be a delay in passing up the command chain line, then it being relayed to air disengaging from their current objective, flying to the new objective, and then assisting. It's how quickly you can make that request to kind of reduce the time lag between request and assistance.
Connery is pushing back onto the point of North Grove Post. There are a lot of NC here, though, and they are very good at taking out these Sunders. Connery's trying to make their life easier by parking Sunders close to the point, and NC is having none of it. Cobalt is very good about flowing Sundies right now.
The Connery force at Barrack Electrical is applying pressure with Maxes and infantry, and it looks like they're going to get the capture point back, because it's really only an infantry force defending the capture point.
NC pushing at North Grove.
Yeah, I'm here at North Grove, and there are a ton of NC. They must have just reinforced here. I just saw extra 2 squads run into the point. Yeah, they outpop Connery up here a lot now, although Connery is back on NC Arsenal. Now, the Cobalt is using NC Arsenal the way that Connery is using the Bastion. They're letting Connery pop sync there and then coming in and knocking him off at the end.
Also, with regards to the tech plant, it looks like the Cobalt force has been sidestepped. Cobalt is on the tech plant, but Connery is on Tuma's cargo facility, and the Tuma's cargo facility is ticking down. It's Cobalt that's going to be after the ones this time that falls back. Oh, 1 minute 50 seconds to go on North Grove. That's a healthy amount of well, I say it's a healthy amount of time for the attackers. The defenders, they're limited. Yes, it's 2 minutes, and yes, 2 minutes in a battle is a long time. Double Sunder push, maybe get some squad spawn-ins. Maybe these Sunders go to the door in this double building to
Cobalt
spawn in. Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Cobalt Air is coming in to help down over at North Grove, so...
You can't go through there. What are you doing, sir? Can't help but think that's the wrong gun setup. Bulldog Walker against an infantry. You went double Fury, perhaps. He's trying to be a deploy Sunder. Oh, he's just totally being swarmed. The Connery force not getting a break. Well, maybe this Cobalt gonna have to back into the building, because Connery is actually coming on infantry on the ground. But with 60 seconds to go, Cobalt's doing the right job. They are keeping the fight off the capture point. The last thing you want to do is just naturally fall back to one building and then just get grenade held to, you know, the Stone Age. The Connery force is pushed into the main building, the north building of the capture point. It looks like they also possibly have Maxes pushing into the capture point itself as well. No, they're on the ground floor. With 40 seconds to go, Cobalt has actually got a much harder time than we think. So many grenades are now pushing in, as we're saying, because they are being grenaded and absolutely destroyed. They need to counter grenade and get these defenders, or these attackers back, but it's too much. And with 30 seconds to go, I mean, yes, it's 30 seconds, but that isn't close. Close is like 3 seconds. That last 15 seconds is always a mad dash. I mean, they're trying to res their guys up, but pressure is being applied on both entrances now, and yeah, the Connery force just got it.
Cargo facility, and it looks like just at the last moment here, just by attrition, most of the Connery force on the point was killed. They still have 1 Max and a couple of people up here, but they got to get back quickly if they're going to be able to hold this.
Very interesting, Connery. Even though they're not able to totally face the Cobalt Air Force, they're doing some pretty great small unit tactics with their size out over by Slide and Bastion.
Big reinforcement of the squad. Oh, the Cobalt squad got to the capture point before the Connery squad did, and crucially, because they own the base, they also brought Maxes. It's like bringing a gun and a bazooka to a knife fight. It's just, nah, you're totally outclassed. And the Connery squad that was running up to the capture point just got caught off, and then had the low ground, and it just ended badly.
So props to the Connery pilots for at least holding on.
Oh, Barrack Electrical's ticking down again, so let's have a look there.
Yeah, I'm here right now, and there is a large NC force down there, and Connery is just now starting their push in. They seem to not be quite grouping up, and they don't have a whole lot of Maxes that I saw coming down the stairs. Maybe they're going for grenade spam.
See, the problem is that, yeah, Cobalt is right now with the current tactics, they're just stalling. They're being a nuisance, they're slowly getting the ticker down, and they just keep applying pressure at this base. So long as Cobalt fights on the enemy base, doesn't matter if they don't get it or not, so long as we fight on the enemy base, we're not fighting on our base. And they're doing a great job at Barrack Electrical, North Grove Post. The only thing is they need to make a save of racks of combat at small numbers and NC Arsenal. If they can fight, let's say, at the Augur or the Bastion instead, then the Cobalt force is doing great. However, I would like to see perhaps more of an emphasis on spawn protection from the Cobalt forces, because Connery is doing an exceptionally good job. It is going to a base, seeing where the spawns are for the defenders, picking the spawns off because nobody's defending them at all, and then once the spawns are picked off, they just naturally encroach onto the capture point and take it because they have enough time.
I don't know that you can do this. Someone is attempting to bring a Sunderer down to the point of Barrack Electrical. Somebody from VS is attempting to drive the Sunderer down. I didn't know that you could do this.
Oh wow, they are actually... It's the walkway, it's got to be doable. Surely he can get on... He needs to move more to his right, because his rear tire is there. Okay, he's got... Oh my god, who brings...
Connery, armor push into 2 Moss cargo.
Oh, he's deployed it. That is ruthless. Complete immunity to vehicles, complete immunity to air. Why has he got anti-air guns on? It should be like double Furies in this instance, but never mind. And it should be a deployment Sunder, but that's cool. I like that. I did not know you could do that. That is awesome. That's going to give a ridiculous advantage to the defenders. With 60 seconds to go, Cobalt could have theoretically gotten this, although it's unlikely. They may have extra spawns and we're reducing extra reinforcements. I don't think they realise that there is a Sundra on the other wall. There's a Sundra on the other side, and that means unlimited grenades and fresh maxes at instant, and the respawn time is tiny.
I think that might be a vehicle Bob moment right there. We have yet to see a vehicle Bob
But look at this, 30 seconds to go, and they're not getting in. Reinforcements are streaming in from Cobalt. Even though they've got the Sundra, they should be charging in. They should just run around the corner and go. Don't fight on the point. I understand that first people will die, but it's the Cobalt force that's applying pressure. They're gonna get the... Oh, did they attack from the other side? Yeah, they did attack from the other side. Those are crucial, precious seconds. And the Cobalt force had to turn around, go back to the point. This allows the Connery force, in theory, to come... What are you afraid of? There's one Max! Go around! There we go! This is a Max with some balls. He actually charged forward, and his friends then followed. It takes one guy to chart the charge, and there we go, they make a save. Cobalt... It's not that Cobalt did well, it's that Connery did poorly there. Cobalt nearly got the base from what was an extremely good Connery play with the Sunder. The actual infantry in the play on the ground was they're far too hesitant. Oh, there's a Max around the corner, shotguns, I don't want to be first. No, they should have just charged round and been first guy. Anyway, there you go, base saved.
So, Recursion VS just took Araxicom Network Hub. This is the first time I've seen Cobalt be late to a resecure. They were about 5 seconds late with a max crash trying to get in here. They come a little bit early. They probably would have saved this base. And here their error is showing up now too, a little bit late. The point is still a little bit under contention, but it looks like Recursion has gotten back up with some
So we are actually on tied percentages. Cobalt is still technically in the lead, but they have lost the base. And is this crack showing in the Cobalt defenses? Because they have lost the base. There are not that many active elements going on. They're fighting at the Bastion. Okay, yes, the fight's not at Lithcorp, but they've lost Araxicom Network. They've got a save, or the save going into the Arsenal. They're applying pressure on Northgrove. If they get that plays out. But the fact is, this entire defending force on Araxicom Network can go back up to Northgrove. So it's not an indicative of anything. Because there's about 5 fights going on, and to lose a base, it's really good work from the Connery forces. And they're that one step closer now to getting in the lead.
Northgrove is a huge danger for Connery right now. There are so many NC here that they have managed to... They're no longer defending the point. They're defending the buildings toward the spawn. They are at spawn containment.
Which is the right thing to do. In fact,
there is so much air out here.
I'm looking at the capture point, and I see 2 squads in the capture point. That is wrong. They should not be in the capture point. They should be doing a spawn room contain. That means you are watching the teleporter building, which is this part here. You are watching the exit of the vehicle bay, and you are getting as close to the spawn room as you possibly can. This defensive force, there's way too many in the capture point. They need to push out. They have complete air control, and the reason, because of complete air control, that affords them the ability to push out. There will be no drop pods or mass galaxy drop-ins to take the point back, which means this defending force needs to get outside and guarantee that the Connery force can't come out. They fight away from the point, spread out in a large concave arc so that grenades are less effective in the open. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't get the base anyway because of the overwhelming air presence. It's just that they could be doing a better job.
Show them.
So Trident and perhaps some other outfits from Cobalt have tried to galaxy drop on Araxicom Network Hub, but Connery had not yet left yet, so we're able to very quickly resecure this. I'm waiting to see if they have maybe some better spawns than the spawn drop beacons and galaxies that they came in with. If not, I don't know if they're going to get in here.
Population-wise, NC still has advantage. NC has advantage, but they're letting the VS come into the building and get to the door. Now, ultimately, have so many people, it doesn't matter, but it's essentially a narrow room. If the Connery forces had more guys or more grenades with bandoliers, they could saturate this capture point with grenades, which is, what we're seeing. There's just not enough grenades, not enough infantry. Too many people on one point. This is bad defensive play. They're going to get it, don't get me wrong, but it's bad defensive play.
Cobalt has also decided to drop a force onto the tech plant. Now, it'll be interesting to see if Connery panics with this. They did earlier, but this is a tech plant. You can let them sit here for a few minutes. You can use your forces elsewhere and then come back. However, I do notice that Connery has repaired the vehicle terminals, so that is not a good thing from the standpoint of trying to defend this.
This is turning out to be pretty razor close, because we are, maybe just under 40 minutes into the game, and Cobalt has reattained their 2-base lead with the capture of Northgrove. But the fact is, Northgrove is so close to the warp gate, and they've already started to push on Lithcorp Fortress, so that's interesting. So they're applying pressure, keeping up. They want to perhaps push to a cannon biolab. Biolabs with NC, it's going to affect them, but obviously they don't have Defender's advantage. The tech plant is ticking down as well. They have a 2-to-1 population. They've sidestepped at least half a platoon of Vanu Connery at Tumas cargo facility. The Barrack Electrical has been properly saved. There's a half a platoon at Barrack Electrical, and there's no one really at High Road, so we have to see what the VS does. Now, at the halfway marker, we'll just bring up some interesting stats. If you show the map timeline, this will tell you how close it is. Check this out. It is nothing between these guys. They get a base, the next guy gets a base. Base, 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 and these are the neutral bases out of the way, and then it is just up and down, one base between them going back and forth this whole 40-minute period. So it's still super, super close on this map.
This is not a ghost hack at the Bastion. The Bastion actually has at least one squad, maybe 2 squads of NC that are attempting to at least be a nuisance here.
The Augur, I'm going to go check out the Augur. Now, we're also looking at the kill graph right now. So, the Connery force was actually in the lead by a good, let's say a few thousand, right? Or no, actually, more about 100, 150 kills in the lead. But the Connery, the Cobalt Force picked up and it's going back. Okay, so but the thing is, the gap here, guys, is only about 100 kills. It's close. I mean, so although kills don't necessarily tell us, who's performing, because often you'll see some factions with the least kills actually gets more progress. It's close. Leaderboard. Wow, top player already has 372 kills. That's insane.
That has to be air.
Which faction?
Well, I'll check the outfits. No, maybe that's wrong. I think the player stats are wrong. It doesn't really matter. We're looking at the outfits. Bravo Air for ServerSmash. You, the teams. Future Crew's got some stats. The main thing here is weapons. Surprise, surprise. Redlid, what is the top weapon kill in the game right now?
I'm assuming it's not the Spiker.
No, it's not the Spiker. Actually, I'm going to have a look to see if anyone gets a Spiker kill. Looks like some anti-air flight going on the Augur. Oh yes, we got reinforcements from Connery Force trying to come in. There's only a small kind of token defensive team for the NC Cobalt. No, it's the Orion. The Orion is currently sitting at 1,500 kills. The Anchor is currently at 700. The anti-vehicle grenades are on 500-ish, and then it goes through the other kind of list of kind of weapons. In terms of vehicles, see, the Reavers are way 3 times as many kills as the Scythes. Then comes Galaxy Sunders, Turrets, Liberators, Vanguards, Harassers, Lightnings, few Mag Riders. Actually, Valkyries have got 9 kills. You believe that? I'm quite impressed.
At the Augur, it looks like Connery finally pushed the other bridge. It looked like there was a fight over only one bridge, and I was going to ask Connery why they hadn't decided to go the other direction, but it looks like they were holding them and are trying to push this way, although they're not managing to get to the door yet, so...
Well, minute 40 seconds to go on the Augur. The Cobalt Force, correctly, is fighting outside the capture point. They're trying to apply pressure to the Connery Force. The thing is, they've just got more reinforcements streaming in, and they have fresh consumables, firing conch grenades, and just slowly pushing back. And the problem with dying outside, if you don't have the right support, you are then unable to be rezzed instantly, and the res grenades have less of an impact. And just the overwhelming numbers from Connery is pushing in on the Augur. Okay, I say overwhelming, 56-44, but they're just applying pressure and they're on the point. It's just a rolling wave that the Cobalt Force can't stop. It's a nice attack though. It does secure the NC Arsenal. Lithgort Fortress, 2-1, and it's still ticking down. Looks like the capture point was briefly delayed. I gotta say, I love the nighttime kind of lighting effects on some of these bases.
It's interesting. It looks like Cobalt tried to drop on Barrack Electrical Station, and I think they wanted to maybe hack a Sunder out. However, Connery has blown the vehicle terminal here, so the only way that these NC at Barrack Electrical can survive is on Beacon, which is easily killed because they can't go protect it. However, there isn't a concerted effort from Connery to push down here yet. I haven't yet seen a Max Crasher. There seems to be a conga line forming right now to maybe push in, but this might have been something they could have just stopped.
Building.
So we're at Lithgort Fortress right now, and it's very, very nice defense, or sorry, let me say attack/defense by the attackers as the Cobalt Force. They've basically split their team into holding the 2 double buildings and the capture point with a token force, and it's working really well for them, because if they were to defend one building, the teleport building from spawns would take the defenders to the other side, and they could just apply pressure as necessary. And they're holding the higher ground, and it's working for them. The Connery Force, I mean, how much have they got? They're 50-50 now. If they're ever going to make a push, they could overwhelm one defense. Because the attackers are split between 2 buildings, they could overwhelm one area. And with 2 minutes to go, it looks like the Connery Force is on Sunder busting missions, but it's actually the Sunder's actually being defended, so that's good for Cobalt, bad for Connery. Or harder, I should say.
Connery has finally decided to make a push into this Barrack Electric, but they waited so long that there's actually a Galaxy and a Sunder that have come up for the NC. So here they could have killed these guys off without any spawn in, and now unfortunately there's spawn in. So now they have to deal with more of them.
The Connery Force has found the weak point in this type of defense between the 2 double buildings of Cobalt is that they'll just run everybody they have onto the capture point. That means they have control of the capture point. Yes, it's going to be a murder fest, and yes, the Cobalt Forces will get free kills, but ultimately they don't have the point, which means they need to be lured out, and by being lured out, they can slowly be picked off. And it looks like this base has been properly saved, one side's gone off. So Lithgort back into the hands of Connery, Cobalt being pushed off. There's a token attack going at NC Arsenal. I wonder how they started that NC Arsenal attack.
Barrack was resecured by Connery, but as I said, like they waited so long that there now is a Sunder, and there is a conga line of Scat Maxes coming out of it. I don't think that Connery is going to be able to hold this point with the few people that they had on it, which means that there's only going to be a couple seconds taken off of this tick before the NC are back on, and the NC are back on right now.
Well, okay, so we're currently looking at Tuma's cargo facility. The capture point, couple of token forces holding on to... Oh, hello, is this Heavy going to win his little duel? He is indeed. Where are you going to go? There's a couple of token forces from the Cobalt pushing onto the capture point as token forces from the Connery. So it's a small scale fight on the actual capture point. Looks like most of the forces for Connery is actually outside. Cobalt's got the point. I don't foresee them actually losing it anytime soon. Barrack Electrical, you say, looks actually far more interesting.
Barrack Electrical, as I said, Connery finally managed to kick them off the point here, but they waited so long that there's now a Sunder, and they just pulled an absolute insane number of Scat Maxes and took the point back.
They're not watching their rear though. They're only watching the one exit point. This infiltrator, what's he gonna do? He's like, oh, he's been spotted, and he's dead. Well, he did absolutely nothing.
Victory has not eluded.
60 seconds to go. This is much closer than it was last time, and they don't have that same Sunder setup. Oh, there's actually a counterflag from the top by a few NC guys, so they're not even being able to get down the staircase for free. This heavy assault is ripping into them. He's still got a couple of kills, getting closer. What are you going to pull off?
There is at least a platoon, maybe more, of Cobalt at Araxicom Network Hub, and there is...
Sorry. There was a dead Vanu, and he had a flashlight attachment, so it looked like the light was shining out of his ass because he was dead on the floor. Sorry, go ahead. Yes, so the Connery force, Max is still being contained outside the staircase. It's a good kind of forward pressure by the Cobalt team. Alright, this Max knows what he's doing. He's run around the other side. Engineer turret, beautifully placed. Reserve Max is on the capture point for Cobalt. They're going to get the base. That's beautiful.
And just a few moments ago, they also got a Araxicom Network Hub, so that is two bad losses for Connery right there. It means that they have even less places to push now.
That means they're 4 bases behind. They need to get... Yeah, 4 bases to win, because 3 bases will only tie the score. And unless they get the Ascent or an NC Arsenal, then they'll be down on the tiebreaker. So they need to get 4 bases to guarantee a win at the moment. Or 3 bases, assuming they can get their hands on the Ascent or NC Arsenal. And the entire Cobalt force has been wiped off the capture point. Well, what's this? The entire VS force of Connery at the Barrack Electrical point defending the point. They can't flip the point. Why can't they flip the point? Because a beautiful piece of interdiction play. The Cobalt force is already on Aramex Chemical Co. They're like, oh, what, you over there? No, man, the fight's over here. Now, the fact is they've got 12-24. There's no reason that they should lose that point. It's critical for Cobalt to hold on to that point, because if they lose... Oh, come on, camera, work with me here. If they lose it, then there's a huge Vanu force, and they won't be able to get the point back. Let's see what's going on. Oh, wait, no. Big redeploy of Connery. Connery's got the point back at Aramex. And it looks like they then will start the cap down at Barrack Electrical.
Connery has pushed on to the NC Arsenal, and they have all 3 points here, but we've seen this just...
They're at pops by Cobalt, though.
And there's a large force of Connery at the Bastion right now, allowing that to tick down. I don't know if that is attempting to stop what was at Araxicom Network Hub, or maybe they want to push into Lithcorp.
I'll tell you what. See when you move the observer camera really, really fast, right, and the game fails to load everything else, and it loads it late. It loads infantry characters first. So if you get to a base that's heavily under contention really, really fast, it's like X-ray vision. You just see what everywhere what they're doing. It's kind of nifty.
I've noticed the camera acts a little weirder than usual. I don't know if they did something to that affected its performance in the last...
It's taking a little bit longer to load, but no, I'm just more saying it's interesting seeing everyone running, seeing all the infantry moving around before you see the map, because it shows you where everyone is without actually having to look in the minimap.
Now at NC Arsenal, even though Connery made a big push here, 3 points. Actually, I was going to say it looked like Alpha and Bravo were taken back by the overpop NC here, but it looks like Connery is going back over to B.
They got themselves B, but they're not staying. It looks like they want to move off. Or they're just guarding the entrance points. B and C. A, you would have thought would have been the easiest of all the capture points to take, but no, they don't have it.
Speaking of wonderful
nobody on
innovation,
it.
I'm not there to see it, but if you look, there's 96 plus NC at Lithcorp Fortress, and there's 96 plus Connery at North Grove.
and crucially, Connery got the jump. Connery got to North Grove before Cobalt got to Lithcorp, which means the entire Lithcorp force, because it's so many Connery at North Grove, will have to go back.
Yeah, they are heavily entrenched too, and these Reavers can't do anything.
And if we're looking at it, doesn't let NC Arsenal. Well, NC Arsenal, they are actually outpopped. And the thing is, there's so much air force currently in the air that the ground forces for Cobalt is actually less than you think. It's not 50-50. It's going to be closer to 60-40 in terms of effective forces on the ground.
One thing I don't see from Connery, turret.
Yes, and Cobalt has tons of turrets
at all.
The attack at Tumas Tech Plant, while it looks like it's an even pop fight, again, Connery has left those vehicle spawns up, and Cobalt had spawned a whole bunch of Sunders, but they are being methodically taken out here. It looks by C4 and tank mines. They've not managed to get any of them up into any of the good camping positions, so this actually may
You need
not
to
matter.
EMP this entire top force. Right, there you go. One guy's picking them off systematically. So the Air Force is being used to maximum effect by Cobalt, picking off all the spawns for Connery's kind of Air Force. And, sorry, Connery's ground team. They're picking up all their spawns, and I don't know if this is overkill. In fact, it's the capture point, and I love the fact that they're holding this upper building, just creating a flank to prevent the basically dropping on the roof of the capture point, then moving in unmolested. So just kind of keeping these guys on the roof at bay for a little bit longer. But as far as the capture point is concerned, okay, grenade festy. They're trying to stay away from the capture point by off to one side, but it's just too small of a location for too many people. Grenades are far too effective, and Cobalt Force is just going to push up when they get to the capture point. And it looks like...
If you're at North Grove.
Yeah, we're at North Grove. So it looks like a couple of squads have either been pulled away by Connery or pulled in by Cobalt, and the base timer is drawing to a halt. So I mean, the fact is that base is theoretically saved, and we see a small force just being a nuisance. It doesn't look like it's like being a realistic capture force, but Cobalt is on the bastion again, and it looks like they're also being a nuisance at the tech plant, and they're being a nuisance at Aramex.
And the nuisance of the tech plant is, as I said, more serious than their other attacks here. It looks like Connery has taken out most of the vehicles that they pulled. There's actually 2 Liberators. I don't know if that's part of a Connery Air Force or if that's just people deciding to pull libs to kill things. But Connery is finally now starting to try and push in to this tech plant. They look like they hold the ground floor. I could be wrong about that. And they're methodically trying to clear stuff out.
See, what I don't get, and I've said this before, is that I don't know how long this Cobalt force has been at the tech plant unmolested. Okay, so the timer's on 4 minutes. That means they've been here for 3 minutes, okay? Now, does that mean they've been here for 3 minutes unmolested, or has it been constant fighting? That's irrespective. Both the terminals are actually hacked and alive for the Cobalt force. The vehicle terminals are hacked. How many NC vehicles are there? We saw one Sunder with the wrong guns being pulled, i.e. not helpful for killing off infantry. There should be huge amounts of harassers with shotguns, enforcers, Sunders with Furies. There's just the vehicle benefit of getting them into the tech plant buys you like a minute or two, just because it's such a nuisance to kill off.
They had a lot of vehicles in here when I showed up about 2 minutes ago.
Right, so it was more that they did do that, but the Connery force picked them all off.
Yes.
Okay.
Aramex Chemical Company got gal dropped by Connery to re-secure the point here, and it looks like they have done that and are mopping up some of this Cobalt force. This is an easy base to gal drop re-secure because the point is outside and you can drop into the courtyard. Although Cobalt is not going anywhere. I don't.
No, they're staying. They have a Sunder, and this is the difference. When you have air control, and in the instance of Connery, when you don't have air control, the Cobalt forces can afford to have more, heavily exposed Sunders to air. This is an exposed Sunder easily to air, and even theoretically to some vehicles coming from the rear. And so long as it stays defended, it's not a deployment Sunder, and that was some C4 and a rocket launcher. Connery force needs to defend their Sunder. They're giving it away for free. Gosh, come on, Cobalt, this is poor play. You need to defend your Sunder. You've got it safe from air, and it's burning. Wow. No one's repairing. Okay, there goes the repairs. One last rocket. Oh, that guy got the kill. VS541 got a very, very important Sunder kill for free there. And the fact is, the Cobalt Force, yes, they're on the capture point, yes, they've got beacon, yes, they have a lot of maxes, but most importantly, they do not have hard spawns, Sunder spawns. They do have galaxies to get reinforcements and spawn-ins, but they don't have a Sunder. And in that instance, I would actually merit a couple of people, and I don't mean like one, I mean like bring 6 or 7 Sunders from Barrack Electrical and bring it to Aramex. At the very least, hack the vehicle pad. Prevent the enemy from pulling out vehicles. That's also important. Preventing the enemy from pulling their own Sunders and their own Lightnings. You can see the Sunder pulling around. I think he's trying to get maybe a spawn point from the rear. This is lovely positioning. He's just saying, you know what, Cobalt, that was a good spot. I think I'll come in there and take you the same.
The north has seemed to quiet up a lot. I don't know if Connery was moving its forces around or Cobalt was moving its forces around, but the large force that we saw at Lithcorp and North Grove seems to have moved, and that might have been part of that resecure at Tumas Tech. That Connery had to move its people down there. Interestingly, we haven't gotten to see it, and I almost don't want to, but because it looks like it's a single stalker hook infiltrator, but the Araxium cryobank keeps on ticking, and you can see that it has no connection, but as long as Connery gets back over there and flips it back the other way, they can keep it going down. It's been that way for about 6 or 7 minutes now, since it's been cut off from Barrack Electrical. There's just one stalker cloak sitting there running back to the point.
Oh well, that's it, game over.
Yeah.
And without a hard spawn for the Cobalt forces, the lack of Sunder, they're just overwhelmed. It's not that the Connery force had more people, it's simply that attrition being built up, and so here comes the Sunder far too late, and the problem is the positioning is also bad because it takes harder to run around the edge. I wonder if this guy realizes there's a Sunder over to the side. No, over there. Over there.
Cobalt's Air Force has showed up to Tumas Cargo Facility, which is something that they really can't do anything about because Connery has everything inside. They have a Sunderer inside, and it looks like 1, maybe 2 squads on the point. I'd really like to see Connery make a big push for this. They keep on only sending 24 people here, maybe 36 at the maximum. I think they need to try and make this a big push, lock their tech plant off and allow them to move somewhere else.
Okay, we're almost at the 1 hour marker, so let's see, where are we at the 1 hour marker? Cobalt has got 53, Connery 45, so they've still got their 4 base lead. Okay, they're applying pressure in the south of Aramax, which means the fighting is not happening at Barrack. The fighting is moved from Tumas and is moved back to Tumas Cargo Facility, but there's almost a half a platoon at Tumas that needs to get over to Tumas Cargo to add in their numbers, because right now they're out of position. In the north, or middle, Bastion is going down with same 2 squads roughly of NC Cobalt forces at Bastion, just being a nuisance. Fighting at Bastion means that Lithcorp and Araxicom hub is safe. It means the ascent is safe. So constantly harassing Bastion is huge for the Cobalt forces. That's great. Lithcorp Fortress is going to tick down in 30 seconds. We're going to have a look there. They're pushing ever closer to the biolab.
This is one of those things where Connery at least has been bouncing around. They seem to be coming from the teleporter side, which is good, but
check
this
that
is
X-ray
almost
vision.
A place that you need to attack your. You need to attack.
Oh, they're going to get the base. There's simply no Connery to be seen.
Oh no! I just saw there's. What are they underneath?
No, it's with 5 seconds to go. We're on the top. There's just far too many NC. NCs all fall back to the point in the last 15 seconds, and they're just mega defending it. And well done. That's another base. Now Connery needs 5 bases to win. 4 if they can get their hands on
and the Augur is ticking down
the Ascent or NC Arsenal, and the Augur is also ticking down. Wow, this is getting painful now. Tumas Cargo Facility is still in the ticking in the favour of Connery, but they're at pop 2-1, and okay, so there's much larger forces for Connery than I can see than Cobalt. The map doesn't necessarily update with populations instantaneously. We can see that the Connery force, at least in the minimap, they are trying to hold the bridges again, but they're slowly being applied pressure back. Just a constant stream. This is the best thing you can do. Unlike live server play, you don't care about your life. You run so that you take the hits, so the guy behind you can get that little bit closer, and you just overwhelm them. Stopping here is the worst thing. They need just to apply pressure. Look, there's only like 2 or 3 guys. They just need to move in and go. and they're sneaking around, and they'll be almost on top of the capture point.
Tuma's cargo facility is under 1 minute to go, and there's a lot of air outside. As I said, that air doesn't have any.
Oh, so the population is actually not what we thought. So yeah, so the Augur's been saved. Moving over to, as you're saying, Tuma's cargo facility.
There's a max crash coming. There's a ton of air, including galaxies out front here. I'm waiting to see if this ground force from NC can push in. It's under
20 seconds. These maxes need to run now. Why are you waiting outside? You don't have enough time even to run to the point. And this is it. I mean, the fact is, these maxes need to get up top. Good play C4 AV grenade will stop this. With 9 seconds to go, it's still by no means a guaranteed measure. They need to stop the infantry from moving up the staircase. That's the main one. Oh, that was close. Just not enough defenders. But I mean, we are leaving it really close here because they were two crucial bottlenecks. Nicely placed C4 is not easily killed on the upper plateau. If they had some good C4 placement, they could have killed tons of maxes and bought those extra 5 seconds.
They'd been fighting here for a while, and this is something I just don't understand from Connery. Another squad would have made this go through. They only had, I believe, 24, 36 people. Had you just sent an extra squad to reinforce them in the last...
They sent a huge number. They just mega sent a whole platoon. So they didn't send their force that was annoying at the Bastion, so they left the Bastion force there, but the entire south. So basically, the team that was fighting at RMX and Barrack Electrical all got pulled to Tuma's cargo facility, which is the correct thing to do. You defend what you have rather than attack what you don't.
From Tumas to cargo. See all these Sundays?
Going from Tumas to... Oh, yeah.
And the north is just turning into a disaster for Connery. They aren't even really able to hold them from pushing into a Conum Biolab. They're at a Conum garrison right now. Cobalt is taking...
96, 96 going on, but they're still at pop. Now, those extra reinforcements are actually at the Augur, so the Augur force needs to move to a Canum, and then they should be able to balance the force out and perhaps push them back. But it's the Air Force causing the difficulties. Yes, there's a large Connery Air Force, and yes, that might create a kind of a number imbalance elsewhere on the map, potentially in the south, but the simple fact is, using the Air Force, they're using it to pick off the spawns. So long as they can apply pressure with the Air Force so that it's actually useful to pick off the spawns, then it makes it very hard for the Connery force to have freedom of movement, to set up attack, and then basically take a base, because they're always being pushed inside into these narrow choke points, and with the inability to spawn, maxes or get resupply with grenades.
We have seen very scant evidence of a Connery Air Force. I've seen smattering of them, whereas Cobalt has what I would call a platoon up at all times. You would think that would give Connery the advantage on the ground with just more numbers, and yet it seems, just looking at population charts, that Cobalt are the ones who have the more numbers. That's just force allocation. They are being better about placing their people where they need to be at the right time.
Yeah, and the thing is, if there's a squad imbalance, let's say there's one squad imbalance at Canham, and there's one squad imbalance at Bastion, and there's one squad imbalance at Tumas Cargo, and maybe at Barrack, that's your platoon of air already there. So you need to make that extra squad count. And the Air Force, I'm not thinking the entire death ball is one area. I think the Air Force has probably been split into two separate areas, because I'm seeing the the Cobalt Air more spread out across the map in different areas. So this is a nice push here from Connery onto the capture point across the bridge.
And a southern force, and slight outlook at the ascent, you can see the dividing line between them.
And it makes the impact, because all they're doing is making sure that the Connery force cannot attack. It's not necessarily useful on when Cobalt is attacking as an offensive tool, but as a defensive tool, it just kills off all the spawns, because we don't have as many spawn sunder shelters or places that it's safe as an attacker to put your sunder. They're usually exposed outside. So Air Force in this base is quite important. And the capture point is close. The Connery force at the Ickenham garrison is trying to apply pressure. Looks like they will make a save. Yeah, they've got max and infantry support. It was close though, 20 seconds.
I think that was dangerous, because Connery didn't know where the point was. They all went upstairs where it usually sits in a building like this, but it's downstairs in this building. I think they were confused as to why the point wasn't flipping in their favor.
Camera's doing the whole head shaking maneuver. Ooh, just fairly safe.
At first I was not understanding what they were doing, but after I've watched them for a while, it seems like they are mainly just defensive at hold, while their infantry compadres move forward. It's something we'll have to ask later on, see what they got going on with that.
There's a small force that was looking to try and
Air Force is bombing the Augur for Cobalt. Let's have a look over here.
But that was just basically just one person.
Connery pushing to Rex and Mac.
Oh, Cobalt is now using the Air Force as an offensive tool. They've got themselves set up on the capture point. I don't actually see a Sunder for Cobalt, but then they are a hostile faction, so I can't see it. But they're actually using the air this time, pounding the double bridgeway that leads from the spawn room. Now this is one of the few places where the air power has got a clear line of sight to the capture point, where they can interdict and stop the defenders from getting to the capture point. And that means the defensive teams can just watch the two critical bottlenecks. They don't have to worry about air because they know their guys have got the skies clear. They can afford to be outside and be this much of a nuisance. Have a look. No Sunder.
Back on to Mustek. Now, this is something we haven't really seen Connery do. Connery needs to start being better about using this as a pop sink. They don't need to come here right now. They need to come here in 2 or 3 minutes, and they need to use that force for 2 or 3 minutes somewhere else, because Cobalt can't leave these guys. They have to stay here. They can't do anything during that time period.
I think Anam is in trouble.
The thing is,
Again, referee and all call. 55 minutes remaining. 55 minutes remaining in this match.
So the Augur is getting close. The fact is, the Connery force isn't as close as they were last time. 60 seconds to go. They were not, they're further back than they were before. They did try and do a max charge, but they didn't have any support and they got picked off. And the problem is they're coming in kind of piecemeal. And although there isn't as much air force, engineer turrets, grenades, explosives, heavy assault rockets, they are stalling. Okay, so the Connery force has pushed themselves to the outside of the door. I don't see any Sunders for Cobalt, and maybe that's one coming in very late at the very last minute, but with 30 seconds to go, the Connery force should be able to push to the capture point, given the nature of where it is and the lack of defenders for Cobalt. But that's no guarantee. The pressure being applied by Connery needs to keep... Oh, I love that Claymore. We'll see if he's going to pick anyone up. Yes, it did. This is good. It's good work, but still, it doesn't matter. With 10 seconds to go, the Connery force should be on the capture point, and they are. And you have to ask the question: Cobalt did not have a Sunder. They had air control, they had domination, but they did not have a Sunder. That's got to have affected their ability to spawn back in, and it's got to also have affected their ability to pull fresh maxes. Why they didn't have their own Sunder on site to spawn in when they had complete air control, I don't know. That's a mistake. Maybe it was because the Augur started off as a delay. Oh, there's a Sunder right there. My bad. Whether this is new or old, no, that could have been the guy driving around, coming along to here. But ultimately, I didn't see this chap earlier. I mean, if it's kind of a long run, I guess, but maybe it started as a distraction attack, then it turned into, oh, we might actually get this, but still, if you're going to attack a base, do it properly as if you're actually planning to take it. Bring that extra Sunder support, because you might find that, hang on a second, we could have gotten this base had we had the Sunder, had those few extra reinforcements, had people with fresh grenades, C4, or just fresh maxes coming in. Right, so what's going on the map?
Raxcom Network Hub is being saved as we speak, or, well, it's actually still in contention as we speak by the NC and VS. I honestly can't tell who. There's so many grenades going on. I think actually they can't tell who's who.
So the force, the Bastion's been pushed off. There's the attack at Raxcom Network Hub, as you said, has been pushed off, 60-40. But in the south, the Connery force is losing ground because they are being pushed back, slightly outpelped on the tech plant at 54-46, and they're also losing slightly at RMX Chemical. So I wonder if more forces for Connery has been pulled north to deal with the worsening north situation.
I'm actually headed
south
down
to the tech plant.
Yeah,
you check RMX for me.
RMX, yeah. And there's a lot of Cobalt air here. This is a perfect way for them to use their air to prevent Connery to get to the point. They can just absolutely destroy anyone who's trying to come out of those spawns. And Connery needs to figure out a different way to get to this point, whether it's gal drop it, whether it's bring in a Sunder from another direction. They need to do something, because what they're doing right now is not going to work with the time they have.
This is nice. The Cobalt force has got themselves lots of Sunders, repair Sunders, lots of vehicles, bulldogs, guns, watching the back spawns. That's great. They've got the balcony supremely locked down. What I don't like, however, is how incredibly weak the double doors is. I wouldn't mind an extra 1 or 2 harassers here, just with some enforcers, the ability to drive around, freedom of movement, and just defend these 2 staircases, because these 2 staircases gives the defenders the ability to move up relatively unmolested, get inside rather than being kind of kept at their doorway entrances, and it means that they can get to the point and maybe theoretically harass using the wall as cover. I do like the kind of flanking shotgun, so maybe that's not necessary. Maybe it's kind of a good flank we've got right now. The thing is, you're putting all your eggs in one basket in one area. If somehow they were able to get in a lot of vehicles, and you can do a lot, you can maximize the damage. And as we see, well, they're able to push in because this area is not being defended, and they can at least force the point to be under contention. And all these defenders on this upper balcony can't do nothing. Oh, hello. Oh. Okay, which one is it? Well, we're going to find out in a minute 52, so it should be okay because the alerts are 2 hours, so we'll be fine.
Yes.
Unless it's like a 1 hour surprise alert, but even then we're under an hour for things, should be okay.
So, Red Mist captures Aeromax Chemical Corporation for Cobalt.
Wow, can't believe...
Connery could not get down to that point in time.
And the capture point is being retaken on the tech plant by Cobalt, but all their vehicles have been pushed off. They still have numbers. Oh, that's a nice light assault. Oh, he's been picked up. Oh, he's been spotted. So they are still...
Cobalt is already on Tormar storage yard. They are fantastic at this leapfrogging thing. They already have a small group, and that's a long way away. Connery just has to get out.
They need to hack the vehicle terminal, get a Sunder out. If they're going to do that forward stuff... The SCU at the tech plant is dead. The SCU tech plant is dead. There are no Sunders. Okay, there's one Sunder in the north, second Sunder being pulled at the V-Bay. If ever Cobalt wanted to take the tech plant, this is the best timing. We can see fresh air is being pulled by Connery. This is Connery's Air Force. They realize they need to have some air control, because if they don't have air control over the tech plant, they get a Sunder. If they can't get a Sunder, they can't necessarily repair the SCU.
This SCU hold is still going on by Cobalt. I think they're going to try and get back inside here.
And the Galaxy pilot landed and is hacking the vehicle pad, so the rear vehicle pad is actually hacked. I would love to see Cobalt pull extra Sunders, extra vehicles. They need to get the capture point back eventually, otherwise the SU shield will go back up, but so long as they have vehicles and so long as they bring their air in to mop up any Connery air, we do see an air fight going on above the Tumas cargo facility and the tech plant. Looks like the Connery Air Force is trying to do what it